So hello, everyone. It is great to see so many of you here today. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jackie Panto. I am the Associate Director of Admissions for Penn Engineering Online. And I just want to take a minute to welcome you and also thank you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and for joining us at this webinar today. So we have a packed webinar. We have so much to go over with you. And I'm really excited because today we're not just focusing on one online program. We are going to feature all three of our Penn Engineering Online degree programs. And what's really even more exciting than that is we have some special guests. We have all three of our program directors here today at the webinar, and each one of them are going to be going over their program and giving you lots of great information about their program. In addition, we also have our Senior Associate Dean with us, Boon Thou Loo, Professor Boon Thou Loo. And Professor Loo is also going to go over and talk to you about the importance of a Penn Engineering Online degree, what it is about the degree that makes it so special and that it makes it stand apart from other degrees out there in higher education. So again, lots of information, lots of things to go over with you. We do have three goals today. We really want to make sure that you get a lot of information, and we're hoping by the end of this hour that number one, you know exactly which program is best for you. And then number two, you understand all of the program details and the ins and outs of that program. And then number three, we want you to have a good feel for the outcomes of that program and how they closely match your career goals and your career aspirations. So lots to cover. I'm going to turn it over in 1 minute, but I just need to go over a few webinar housekeeping tips with you. So number one, you're being recorded. There is no need to take notes. In fact, I strongly urge you to go back and look at past recorded webinars. They're a great resource, not only to find out about our programs, but to also learn about the community and to learn about all of the many resources that make our students successful. If you have questions today, we're hoping to certainly answer all of them within our presentation, but sometimes we're not perfect and we might forget some information. So please submit your questions in the Q&A toolbar on Zoom. So go to Zoom, go to the Q&A toolbar, and make sure you put your questions in that area. We'll either answer the questions in the Q&A, or we will save some for the question and answer session. We'll save about 20 minutes or so at the end of the presentation for questions. So one way or another, your questions will get answered. So I am going to go ahead and turn the presentation over to Professor Boon Thou Loo. And Professor Loo, thanks so much for being with us today. The presentation's all yours.
Thank you, Jackie. First of all, welcome to this webinar. It's such a wonderful occasion to see everyone here. And I'd like to kick off by answering the question, why Penn Engineering Online? The first thing to note is you'll be studying under world-renowned faculty. In fact, we pride ourselves in the quality of the classes that we deliver. The same faculty who teaches the on-campus degree program will be teaching in the online program as well. And among the faculty who teach in our program, we have several who are teaching award winners. They won all kinds of teaching awards in the engineering school and at the university wide, such as the Lindbergh Award. We have many faculty who are actively pursuing research at the most cutting edge. Several ACM fellows. ACM fellow is like the most prestigious research award you can get in the area of computer science. It's a worldwide global recognition. And so you'll be learning from faculty who are really at the forefront of technology. The program is also very flexible. We record all the content, so you could watch it asynchronously at your leisure. You know, I know several of you are busy, you have family, you have work, and this really program is designed to allow you to watch anytime at your convenience. And these are high quality videos that we capture at a studio environment. But at the same time, if you want to meet us synchronously in person or on Zoom, there are multiple avenues. For example, on a weekly basis, all of us instructors, myself included, I'm one of the instructors in the program, we will hold Zoom webinars, Zoom meetings where students will come and ask us questions live. And I myself, travel widely. I have by now met students in California, LA, San Francisco, Irvine, Seattle, Amsterdam, Washington, DC, Beijing, Singapore, and the list goes on. We also have a fall fest where we bring students onto campus every fall. So there's a lot of opportunities to interact and really build together a community. Last but not least, the curriculum is flexible in terms of timing. We have classes 3 semesters, fall, spring, and summer, and there are students who do the program full time, and they'll take 3 classes every semester, and they could finish in slightly more than a year. Some of them continue on to a dual degree program. We also have students that will take 1 class every semester, and they'll complete it over a longer period, usually because of work and family commitments. But whatever it is, we've seen a wide range of students, and really want to make this a positive experience for you to help you fulfill your career goals. Next slide, Jackie. And the thing that we really pride the most is the Penn community. I have by now represented Penn Engineering worldwide in many alumni events, and I can tell you, Penn Engineering Online students feel very much a part of the community. When you join us, you get a Penn card like everyone else. You proudly can call yourself a Penn Engineering student. When you ever After you graduate, you attend any of our alumni events, there really is no differentiation. You are very much part of the alumni network. And that also applies to commencement, right? You graduate together with all other on-campus students, and you get the same degree that you would also, the identical diploma that you get on campus. And we also have a very close and a welcoming community where the faculty, students, and staff, we are all willing to help each other to achieve your goals. And one of the things I'm most happy about is when students graduate, many of them, even though they're alumni, they stay engaged. They really build a strong passion for this program. Some of them continue on as TAs, and they really want to give back. So it's a wonderful community to be in. Next slide, Jackie. And it's my great pleasure today to introduce, we have 3 of our distinguished program directors. It's such a rare but wonderful occasion to have all 3 of them together. We have Professor Tom Farmer, who is the director for MCIT Online, Professor Chris Callison-Burch, who is the director for MSE-AI, the Artificial Intelligence Online Master's Program, and Professor Jim G, who is the director for MSE-DS Online, which is our online Masters in Data Science. I know many of you have questions about which program you should apply to and the differences across them. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to share with you everything that we know. And please keep your questions coming in on the Q&A forum as well. So with that said, I'm going to hand it off to Professor Tom Farmer, who will tell us more about MCIT Online.
Thank you, Boon. I appreciate that. I'm delighted to be here with all of you today, and I'm glad to introduce a little bit of MCIT Online to you. So I guess the big question is, who is this program, geared for? That's a really big question, one I'm sure many of you have, because you're trying to figure out which of the 3 programs are for you. But MCIT Online is perfect for folks that kind of want to get into the tech industry, but they maybe don't have a computer science background at all. In fact, we have so many students that have no computer science background. That's really what it's intended for. People coming from very different and diverse backgrounds. I love this slide because it has such a nice list of folks that, with different backgrounds that come to us all the time. We have analysts, teachers, architects, lawyers. We've had accountants. I mean, I couldn't even tell you the number of different professions that are represented in MCIT Online. And in some cases, those folks are, working in that industry while they're taking MCIT Online or while they're, going through the program. Sometimes people have, stopped what they're doing and they're just concentrating exclusively on MCIT Online. And we've had all sorts of different variations of that. People working part-time while they're going through the program, people working full-time. So it really it caters to a very diverse background, and we love the more diversity in the backgrounds, the better. It makes the program better. It makes the questions that come in from students during office hours better because they're coming from very different backgrounds. If you find yourself sort of drawn to computer science, maybe you are currently in your job and you kind of see that knowing some more about computer science will really be helpful for you, then this might be the program for you. This is something people sometimes don't want to change professions, but they maybe just want to add, a knowledge of computer science to what they have already, their tools, their toolkit, and then, be able to apply it within their own career. So if you want to gain some computer science expertise, or you want to switch entirely to a different career, then MCIT Online is probably a really good program for you. The couple things about the background of MCIT Online, it is really a first of its kind graduate level degree program for non-computer science majors. It really we've had it up for now, I want to say 5 years. I always get this wrong, so I'm always thinking that it's more than it is, but yeah, 5 years now. And again, it's really tailored for non-computer science majors. The knowledge that you will receive, that you'll earn as you go through, is essentially the same as a traditional computer science program. So we took we looked at the computer science undergraduate, and we looked at all the key courses that are required to get you through it, to give you the foundation. And we made those our foundation courses in the program. And so by taking these 6 core courses, as you'll find out, there are 10 courses are required to graduate, but 6 of them we consider the core courses. And those are truly the foundation of computer science. Those 6 core courses, we think, will make it so you can succeed in the industry. And then to go on further, after you finish your 6 core courses, you take 4 electives in areas that maybe you're really drawn to. Maybe you're really interested in artificial intelligence. You could take a course in that. You could take multiple courses of artificial intelligence if you wanted, or you can spread and get a nice breadth of education by taking, different courses. Maybe one in network security or web programming, or just, different areas to sort of build up your computer science background. So it's designed for any major, people coming from any background. The only thing that we really do look quite heavily for in terms of, since you don't have a computer science background when you apply, is quantitative ability being displayed. So for some people, they might have had just a course in algebra, and that's usually quite sufficient. Maybe you've had some calculus in your background, that's great, but probably more than needed. Some people show us their quantitative ability by taking the GREs and, score beautifully on the quantitative sections. So a lot of different ways to sort of display the quantitative background that you might have. But we, look for that because we think that that really is the key to success for the 6 core courses and eventually the 4 electives that you're going to take. A lot of different possible career outcomes for folks that come from MCIT. Sort of the top ones that we have listed here. Once you develop all these computer science skills within the program, you really would be able to break right into the tech industry. You could go immediately to become a software engineer, or maybe a systems engineer, someone who's kind of designing at the large, the top level of the system. You could become a software developer, someone who's really just, coding and then developing different systems and the ways to, take a large problem and solve it, break it down into parts, and then, solve at the lower levels. You could become an intelligence engineer. That would be someone that, is working with artificial intelligence and designing the system behind the artificial intelligence system. So a lot of different, areas that you could go into coming out of it. You could, essentially develop computer science skills for advancements in your current non-technical industry. So maybe you're an educator and you just want to add a little, more computer science spin to your courses. This is definitely a good place to come and gain that information. FinTech, product management, portfolio management. There's so many different areas that you could really incorporate this knowledge into your existing world. We've even had physicians come and become part of the program, gaining a little more computer science background because they really thought that would help them a great deal in their area. So doesn't matter the background, as long as you have the quantitative ability, you can absolutely, enhance what you already have, what skills you already have, or you can completely break into a new area and switch into the tech industry. Along the way, of course, you're developing all these computer science skills. We've had some students complete the master's and then use that as a stepping stone. So we've had people do all sorts of different things, whether it's going into computer science, specifically the tech industry, or it's adding computer science into their own, skill set, to their own, career, or going on for further education afterwards. So those are our three big, categories of career outcome. In terms of the program, because you might be wondering, which one, of course, it's probably why you're here, which one is right for me. You're about to hear from the two other directors to, drill down and hear a little bit more about the other programs. But one thing that, might help you in your decision is if you really don't have that computer science background and you want to gain that, it comes to MCIT and sort of use that as a foundational place. And you can spread into other programs. You could do a dual degree with MSE-AI, or you could do a dual degree with data science. You could go on from MCIT and get an AI graduate certificate, just a few more courses to kind of become a specialist in that area. And even same things for a data science graduate certificate. So MCIT can be sort of a touchstone jumping off point for other areas that you might be into to kind of give you the computer science background you need to succeed in the other areas, or it can stand alone and be its own, source of information for you. So I hope that helps kind of explain our outcomes and our possible pathways. And with that, I will hand this off. So thank you very much, Jake.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Callison-Burch. I'm a professor in the Computer and Information Science Department here at Penn, and I'm the faculty director of our brand new Masters of Science and Engineering in Artificial Intelligence. So this program is focused on people who have an undergraduate degree in computer science or computer engineering, or who have already gone through our MCIT online program. So if you don't yet have computer science or computer engineering, then one route into our AI program would be to start with those. So the goal for this is to start people off who have a background in computer science and who are interested in specializing in artificial intelligence in order to advance their own careers. So we imagine lots of people who are currently in the tech industry are excited about artificial intelligence, but may have graduated before it was such an exciting area. So this master's degree is going to upskill you so that you can make a contribution in that area. So this is the newest of our online master's degree offerings. We started with our MCIT Online, then our Masters of Data Science. So the Masters of Artificial Intelligence is our brand new graduate degree offered from Penn Engineering Online. It's the first of its kind offered by any Ivy League institution, and we're aiming again at people who already have a strong foundation in computer science, so we can start off right away teaching you all the materials that we want you to know about artificial intelligence. The AI Masters has 7 core courses, which include 2 that I teach. I teach one that's an introduction to artificial intelligence that gives you a broad exposure to many, many different topics in artificial intelligence, everything from applied algorithms like A-star search to reinforcement learning to introductions to neural networks and NLP. So it's a broad but shallow introduction to a lot of different areas of AI and helps to set the context for what you'll learn in your other courses. I also teach our natural language processing class, which is another of our core courses. This is the one where you'll go deep into how computers understand language and get into the workings of how large language models like ChatGPT actually function. Our other core offerings include machine learning, the statistics that you'll need to understand machine learning and data science, deep learning, as well as courses that are more applications and systems oriented. So you pick between our internet and web systems course and a brand new course that we're developing for the program on GPU programming for machine learning. And then finally, because we think that this is an exceptionally important core course to have, we are developing a brand new technology ethics and the law. So we have a colleague from Penn Law School helping us to create a course that will help situate you in an understanding of what are our responsibilities as AI systems developers to the companies that we work for and to society more broadly when we think about the potential applications and misuses of AI. So it's a really great core set of courses. And then in addition to those 7 core classes, you have the option to pick 2 additional electives from the larger catalog, including things like computer vision. Another thing that we're developing for this program is an elective course called the AI Practicum, which will be a project-based course. I'm developing one that would be a research-oriented project-based course where you would work in teams to try to implement an idea that's developed by me and my PhD students, and with the goal of trying to write a conference-style paper by the end of it and go through all the steps that you need to do. So if you're interested in research, we'll have some opportunities for you to engage with that in this degree program as well. So once you've gone through this program, we hope that you'll be able to enter the new careers that are arising as a result of AI taking the world by storm. So these include upskilling for your current job. So if you're already at a tech firm and they're moving into the AI space, or you want to take a different career path within your larger firm that is more oriented towards artificial intelligence, then this will give you the background you need to engage with that kind of cutting edge technology and sort of any job that might focus on artificial intelligence. So I've seen a lot of jobs that are now advertised as AI ops or LLM ops. Those sorts of things are things that we'll train you to do. Yeah, so if you're looking to propel your career forward in this brave new world, then this degree is for you. I'll hand it over to Jim.
Great, thanks, Chris. Welcome again. I'm Jim G. I'm faculty at the medical school and engineering school, and I help direct the Master of Science Engineering Data Science program. So next slide. Who's our program for? Well, if you define data science as I do, as the art and practice of acquiring, organizing, analyzing, and understanding data toward domain-specific solutions, it's integral to practically every disciplinary and professional pursuit that one can think of today. So fluency with data analysis methods has become just super important for every scientist, researcher, engineer, analyst, and policymaker, or any other position that you can just about think of. And at Penn, we've been at the forefront of training data scientists of the future. Our online program builds on both the excellence of data science research and training at Penn and the strengths of Penn Engineering Online learning. Next slide. Our goal is to graduate students who are able to combine a background in scalable, robust computational and statistical methods with an application domain in such areas as engineering, marketing, the social sciences, biomedical sciences, communication, or the arts and humanities. To make this happen, our students will develop skills, in this case, transcending any specific application area, and outcomes including an ability to formulate and evaluate hypotheses, an understanding of statistical modeling and statistical tests, a strong background in machine learning methods, an ability to load, clean, integrate, analyze, and visualize data, as well as an ability to write data analysis code. By this I mean scripts and workflows that can scale to large data volumes and streaming data, as well as, importantly these days, an understanding of data ethics and data privacy issues and concerns and best practices. Now, the profile for the data science student at Penn is someone interested in solving problems and expected to be quantitatively and algorithmically minded with a demonstrated interest in data science. Your background may include an undergraduate degree in computer science or a computer science minor, or a degree in a highly quantitative field with demonstrated work experience in software development. Our curriculum is designed to target core data science learning objectives and allow for an extensible set of depth areas to connect to a variety of application domains. Particularly, we're interested in establishing a common baseline among all our students to ensure proficiency in probability and statistics, as well as at least one programming language. And the implementation of these principles is done through 10 course units comprising 4 core courses and 4 technical electives and 2 additional open electives that I'd be happy to elaborate on. Next slide. So finally, I've already highlighted at the outset the career opportunities that pervade virtually every quote-unquote sector, from industry to government, in academia to the nonprofit community. I don't see how you can go wrong with training in data science today. Thanks.
Great. Thank you all so very much in providing such great details about our programs. What I just wanted to do was just spend a couple of minutes. I'm not going to spend a great amount of time, but I wanted to spend a few minutes on just talking about the application. We are probably about 6 weeks away from deadline. Our regular, I'm so sorry, that slide should say regular application deadline is November 1st. Our early application deadline has passed, but we still have another deadline of November 1st. So that's coming up. It's about 6 weeks. It's plenty of time to finish up those applications and get them submitted. On the left-hand side of this screen, you can see all of the materials that are needed to submit your application. I am not going to go into great detail today about those. We just want to make sure that we allow plenty of time for questions and answers. But again, you see you're going to need a resume, a personal statement, all unofficial college transcripts are going to be needed. So that's every school that you've attended, we're going to need a college transcript for. There is a $90 application fee. We also need letters of recommendation. We ask for 2 letters of recommendation, but we highly recommend that you seek 3. Our recommenders tend to be slow, so we want to make sure that you don't miss deadline and that those letters get in before deadline. So we strongly urge that you seek 3 recommenders, but we only need 2 to review your application. The GRE was mentioned. I believe Professor Farmer mentioned that the GRE is a great way to show quantitative ability for the MCIT program, but it's optional. It's not required. But if you're concerned about proof of quantitative ability and you feel that you don't have enough quantitative ability to show on your application, by all means, use the GRE as a tool, take that test, submit those scores, and that would be a way of proving quantitative ability. The TOEFL is required for those applicants that are not U.S. citizens or not U.S. permanent residents. Or sometimes the TOEFL can be waived if you graduated with a degree from a university where the medium of instruction was English. So that's just a brief summary of our application, what's needed. Again, the deadline is November 1st. I would strongly urge you, we have lots of other events coming up in September and in October, other webinars, coffee chats. Those are great places to get your questions answered or specific questions about the application. We also have office hours every day of the week. So please go on our events page if you have questions and specific questions about the application. I would definitely attend an upcoming event. As a matter of fact, there's a coffee chat tomorrow. So please go on, register for that coffee chat, or happy to answer specific questions about the application at upcoming events and at the coffee chat tomorrow as well. So with that, I think we can turn it over to some Q&A. Let's see what questions that we do have, and some have been fed in. So I think the first one here, we do have a question about how often we update our courses in the program. So I don't know who wants to take that. I don't know if Boon, you want to take that, or one of our directors want to jump in, but how often do we update our courses in our programs?
Sure. When we first kind of launch new classes, we always, in the first 1-2 iterations, learn a lot, and then we will look at the student course evaluation and feedback. And many of us then go on to make revisions to our course materials. And that's why I think after a few iterations, the materials get better and better. And that's a lot of things, like making sure the homework questions are asked in a way that's not ambiguous and so on. So we do that kind of fixes. And then from time to time, especially in the field like artificial intelligence, and Professor Chris Callison-Burch can speak more to that, it's a rapidly changing field, right? I've spoke to some of my colleagues and they say, hey, things that were taught a few years ago, man, I got to like redo the material. So we do that kind of revisions. But even for the fundamental core topics like operating systems and so on, every few years we actually will do a wholesale refresh. In fact, that's my summer project. I teach an intro to operating systems programming, and one would imagine that this is a 30-year-old topic. There's nothing to refresh, but that's also not true, right? Technology changes. There's a lot of new things happening. And so my little summer project is to refresh my own materials there as well. And I'll hand it off to my colleagues to see if they have more to add.
Yeah, I'll chime in on that. So like Boon says, it feels like AI is rapidly advancing so quickly that it feels almost hard to keep up. So luckily, I totally redesigned the natural language processing class post ChatGPT. So the focus of the course shifted much, much more heavily towards topics like large language models. And I think, each time we teach a class, we update roughly 10% of the material. So over time, it gets constantly refreshed. I also think that it's important to highlight that we also struggle with this across all of computer science, where we want to strike a balance between teaching you skills that are evergreen, that are going to last you throughout your entire career, that are really the foundational things that you need to understand computer science or data science or the mathematical and algorithmic underpinnings of artificial intelligence, and counterbalance that with things that are going to be immediately useful for you upon graduation. So we try to strike that balance in a good way, where much of what we teach you is going to be the foundational materials that'll continue with you throughout your career, as well as trying to get you some contemporary things that are more likely to be refreshed more quickly.
Awesome. Okay, we can go on to our second question. We have a question that says, and I believe actually Professor Callison-Burch touched upon this a little bit when he talked about the practicum, but it says, if I'm heavily interested in doing research during a master's, is an online degree a viable choice for me? So if anybody can talk about how to obtain research during a master's program.
Yeah, so this is a new addition that we're trying to incorporate into both the data science and the artificial intelligence degree programs. There's a practicum option. And so that could be either something applied where you're building a project that would be part of a portfolio that you would show off to future employers, like an app or a system that you're developing. And I believe that in the data science one, you can work directly with an employer as a supervisor to say, like, here's this new idea that we want to explore that we haven't had a chance yet, and go deeply into that. The one that I'm trying to design would also offer up the opportunity to do something research-oriented in collaboration with me and a PhD student, so that it would walk you through the steps that we take in our research in order to go from the inception of a research idea through the execution and evaluation of your research hypotheses to the kind of scientific writing that we do when we're creating 8 to 10 page conference papers that summarize our research findings. So I'm doing a trial version of this on campus at the moment, and then I'm working with Boon and the other directors to talk about how we can also conduct this online. And so my hope is that that will be a good outlet for students who are interested in doing research via our online programs.
I do want to add that we have some master's students in the online program that graduate and then go on to PhD programs in several of the top schools. I think some of them also reach out to faculty after they have taken the classes and done well, and then start doing research informally. And the interesting thing about the online masters is sometimes it can span longer duration, which also means if you're taking classes slowly, you can also start doing research halfway. It gives you a sufficient runway to get publications, and then you'll be competitive for PhD programs.
Yeah, for sure. You're absolutely, if you're looking to be some type of research assistant, you're absolutely in the right place at University of Pennsylvania, that's for sure. So I think there's definitely opportunities, endless opportunities as well, which is great.
Can I chime in on that as well? So I also want to highlight the fact that many of our students in our online degree programs stay with the program for a long time as teaching assistants. So another way to like deepen your understanding of the materials is to apply at the end of the semester that you took the course to be a teaching assistant for subsequent semesters. It's a really, really, really wonderful way of both deepening your own understanding of the materials. Like I find that I always learn by teaching, like I learn the material much, much more thoroughly than I thought I understood it. And the same applies for you helping your peers understand it as you go through the course a second time. And secondly, it's also really one of the aspects of Penn Engineering Online's deep community that Boon highlighted at the beginning. Like these students who return as TAs to help their peers and to help us teach the course, like they're an incredibly vital and important part of our community. And I really, really like the community that arises out of that tradition of giving back to the program.
Yeah, awesome. That's such an important point for sure. The next question, I think this is going to be more for, yes, it's definitely for you, Tom. This is a MCIT, I think, specific question. They're asking what types of math courses are good to prove quantitative ability for MCIT?
Yeah, we really look carefully at your math courses that you come in with on your transcript. So certainly we're always looking for like the most foundational stuff is algebra. We love a great algebra course at the college level. And you've done well in it. Maybe you got an A in the course. That's wonderful. That definitely shows us that you have the quantitative ability. Things that are higher than algebra are always welcome. You know, if you have trigonometry, pre-calc, calculus, any of these in your transcript, that's great. That just kind of displays it a little bit more. But certainly there are other areas, you know, some people come in with a lot of economics background sometimes, if you were an economics major, and maybe you had like an algebra that was tailored just for economics, and that's great. You know, that shows us the quantitative ability. And certainly if it's been a long time since you've had one of those courses, it actually does help a great deal in your application to have at least refreshed it somehow or another. You know, we've certainly had students that have just, you know, quickly taken algebra again, like at a community college, just to get it done, you know, to get it on the transcript and do well in it. And then, of course, like we've been stating, while the GREs are not required, it's always quite helpful, or another way to sort of show us your quantitative ability without having to take any more courses than you've already had, but just a recent take of that would be helpful, so we can, you know, determine if you have that quantitative ability that we're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. And as you mentioned earlier, and I mentioned it too, the GRE is certainly another tool that would definitely show quantitative ability as well. And we, again, it's optional, but we do see the GRE, pop up on applications as well. Okay, next question. I think this one's for you, Jim. Somebody is asking if they have a business analytics degree, would that work for the MSE-DS program? So this one is for Professor G.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the question. For the data science program, we do actually get a diversity of applicants in terms of their backgrounds. As I mentioned, data science is something that every industry requires these days. And so we'll have applicants from really the entire range of backgrounds. We do scrutinize the applications just to make sure that that we don't put you in an environment where you're in over your head and you struggle with the course content. So business analytics can range from, depending on the program that you're from or that you're working within, it could mean a number of different things. So we'd certainly help work with you to look at your current background to see if it's a good fit, and if there's potentially remedial training that could help you bring you up to speed for our particular program. Actually, Jackie, do you want to say something about that? Because data science is one of those programs that gets applications from a very broad spectrum of
Yeah.
the student community.
Yeah, for sure. What we usually try to advise applicants is that obviously with our data science program, because it's a Master's of Science in Engineering, you really do need the computer science background. So again, like you said, Professor G, it really depends on what the business analytics degree is all about. If it's, a lot of times it's from a business school, it may not be that technical. There may not be a lot of computer science courses. So then it might be tough and they may not necessarily have the tools and the background that they need to be successful in the program. So I think it really probably, like you said, depends upon the courses that are in that program, if they were a good fit or not.
Yeah, so one of the things that we do in those instances, or in some of these instances, is we would conditionally admit you and have you actually take some of our core courses and ensure that you're able to keep up, that it actually fits what you're looking for. And then based on your performance in those courses, we can then switch you into full enrollment within the program. But we do appreciate that students interested in data science, as I mentioned, do come from a lot of different backgrounds with a lot of different kinds of training. We're very flexible about this. I mean, all the courses are taught in such a way that you don't have to be a bona fide computer scientist or a hardcore programmer. It's certainly designed in such a way that it does entertain the whole range of folk who are interested in doing data science.
Yep, awesome. Thank you so much. It looks like this question is probably for Professor Callison-Burch. It says, what would there, in talking about the MSE-AI program, it talks about that you need a computer science degree or a computer engineering degree or an equivalent degree. So what would the equivalent degree mean? Like, is it just having the same courses as the required degree? So if you can just elaborate on that, Professor Chris Callison-Burch.
Sure. Yeah, so the expectations upon starting the AI degree is that you have good foundations in programming and in algorithmic implementations. So if you've taken a course on data structures and algorithms, that's definitely going to be necessary for understanding the courses that are the entry point for the artificial intelligence degree. So if your degree is titled something differently than computer science or computer engineering, that's okay as long as you can show that it's got lots of programming and lots of algorithms, or some algorithms, and also some mathematical background is often helpful as well. So
Yeah,
things like discrete math, those typically covered in computer science, and then other kinds of math is typically done in computer engineering, but some of either of those is good.
Yeah, we do see degrees that they're, they just, some schools call them something different for whatever reason, but they have a lot of the same courses in there. So just to kind of trip us up a little bit.
Yeah, and I should
know.
note that I have the most strangely titled undergraduate and PhD degrees. Like my undergraduate degree from Stanford was in the symbolic systems program, so not computer science. And then my PhD was in informatics. So yeah, I can't be too judgy about the actual degree titles.
So I guess basically if somebody's interested in the program and they have one of those titles, as long as the courses match a typical CS degree or a CE degree, then they're probably in the right ballpark. Great. Awesome. Let's see here, going down the list. Oh, somebody is asking, I'm already a data engineer. Would the AI program be a good program for me? I think you kind of covered that, but if you can just.
I think so. Yeah. So again, like it really depends on your background. So, I think some people can end up in a position like a data engineering one from many different backgrounds. And there are elements that we still presuppose that you would have received through an undergraduate education in computer science that you might not have picked up from working. So I think programming, almost certainly anyone who's in a career path that involves lots of programming, you can pick that up. But some of the foundational stuff with algorithms, we're still looking for some evidence of that. And I think that there are some paths, like Jim mentioned, provisional acceptance that if you demonstrate that you can succeed in some of our foundational classes, then you get put onto the full program. But Jackie can say more about that.
Yeah, so what our professors are talking about here is that in certain cases, we will admit applicants to what we call a cross-program certificate program. So it's basically what you're doing is you're starting in the certificate program as a pathway to the degree program. You can't apply this way. You have to apply to a degree program. But again, there are certain instances where you could get accepted into a certificate program as a pathway to a degree program. You would take 2 courses in that certificate program. You do well on them. You get, say, a 3.0 or better cumulative GPA, and then you would automatically pathway to the degree program. There isn't another application process. It basically is like a transfer. And this is a great way to make sure you get assurance that the program is right for you. And then we also are making sure that you are the right person for the program. So it goes both ways. And it's just, it's a great way to start the program. And our advisors, they work hand in hand with all of our students, but they also are really going to do a little extra hand holding with our cross-program certificate admit students. And again, you can't apply to that. You still apply to the degree program. It's just another way to be admitted into our programs. So yes, that's also a great way. Another question that we have has to do with how students in our online programs interact with the professors. So maybe you all can talk about office hours a little bit and how that works and how you interact with online students. I don't know who wants to jump in and go first.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So office hours are one of my favorite parts of the online degree program. I think going in before we started the online degree program, I had a little bit of trepidation. Like if we pre-recorded all the lectures and you can watch them asynchronously, does that mean I just won't ever get one-on-one contact with the students and I won't get to know you? And I feel like that's been dispelled now that we've been doing it for many years. So we have lots of great opportunities for one-on-one time. So we hold weekly office hours. I schedule mine in the evenings, Eastern time, so that I can cover people who are working during the day and up to people on the East Coast. And it also kind of is a good time for people in Asia for their mornings. So it's one of my favorite aspects of the course. Every office hour I hold has, on average 10 to a dozen students showing up, and we engage in lively discussions covering the course content and also just covering things like AI in the news and career advice or PhD application advice. And it's the way I often will end the hour thanking the students for showing up because it gives me a chance to get to know them and to put a face with the students who are taking the class. And then beyond the public office hours that the professors hold with groups, we have tons of one-on-one office hours available with our teaching assistants, where if you need to go through in detail your solution to one of the homework assignments, or you're not understanding some aspect of how the coding is working on a particular programming assignment, then the TAs are there to help you one-on-one. And we have lots and lots of those opportunities as well. And then we typically will also lead recitations. So this varies from course to course, but in the artificial intelligence class that I'm doing this semester, we have 2 weekly recitations, one that's focused on the homework right when it gets released to walk students through the expectations, to give them some tips on things to look out for, and then a second one to recap the materials that we covered in lecture and in the textbook, to allow students to interactively ask questions to go deeper into that. And then both of those recitations are also recorded. So if they happen to fall at times when you're working or not available, you can always watch them asynchronously later.
Tom or Jim, do you want to, I'm sorry, Professor Farmer and Professor G, do you want to jump in and say anything about that?
No need to be so formal for us, but I was going to say that, yeah, I was going to second basically what Chris said, that we just, office hours are like a joy, because again, we get to meet everybody, and you know that you have so many students enrolled, but you don't know them until really office hours starts. So, you know, like you said, each week we have office hours, lots of people attend, you know, depending on the time that works for you. But yeah, it becomes certainly, and I use the open office hours format too. So, you know, many students come in. And so it can be, you know, sometimes we're just going through some homework problems, but a lot of times it just sort of evolves into a nice discussion. You know, we get a little bit of, you know, nice stories from people's workplace and how they're using computer science already, you know, in some aspects, or how they'd like to use it and maybe what course they should take in order to, you know, apply something there. So it's kind of a nice, like a counseling session and sort of just a talking session. It's really just a nice way to meet everybody. And also for you to meet one another. So that's a really nice, you know, like advantage of office hours as well. Certainly, like Professor Callison-Burch said, we have many, you know, opportunities for TA office hours, one-on-one sections and things like that. Also, in terms of interaction, you know, we also have student clubs. So we have in a nice student organization named MOSA, where students get together and they are working on various projects. Sometimes it's just, you know, social connection. Sometimes it's actually working on something specific. And also, you know, those clubs sometimes meet up in person. So we have, you know, on events in different locations. And in lots of cases, you get to meet, sometimes if there's a local professor there, they'll meet up with you in the group. And so that's another sort of way to do it. And then another avenue is also if you are become a teaching assistant for a course, which again, our teaching assistants are all just members of the student body. So there's a good chance you might, you know, become a teaching assistant. And if you do that, we have meetings one-on-one, you know, or I should say TA meetings. So I meet with my TAs weekly and I get to know them a little bit more. So they were already my students in one semester. Now they're my TAs in another. And so I get to know them a little bit more and see how they kind of work, you know, which is a wonderful way to get to know someone a little bit better in this field. And so that's my 3 main areas that I could think of.
All great examples. Thank you. And Professor G, is there anything you need to add to that as well?
Yeah, I'll just echo all of those points. I mean, the thing that all of the faculty who are engaged in the online program fully appreciate that this is a very unique environment, unlike an on-campus context where we do interact with the students, you know, on a regular basis through the classrooms and lectures. We do appreciate that this format is different, and so all the faculty take the office hours very, very seriously. They work very hard to make themselves available. They work very hard to invite you to participate, to join, interact, as Professor Farmer mentioned, and Professor Callison-Burch. I mean, please show up. Even if you have no questions, if the course material, I mean, there's multitudes of reasons to actually just show up, and maybe none of them actually have to do with the class, and that's perfectly wonderful. As you've heard The faculty really do want to engage with you. They're not just interested in how you do in this particular course that you're taking, but how you're doing in our program, how you're doing at Penn, and just how we can help you through the goals and ambitions that you have, and what it is that we can do within our training program to support you. And lots of times it actually has nothing to do with technical stuff, and it might actually have to do with advice and guidance and so on and so forth, but and networking too. So yeah, so please do take advantage of the office hours and these other forums to engage one-on-one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, one of our biggest strengths is the resources that we provide to our students. Office hours is just one leg of it, but there's lots of resources that allow our students to be successful. And I think that's just, such a key ingredient to our online program for sure. All right, so we are getting a little bit short on time. I was going to try to wrap it up. Associate Dean Loo, is there anything that you needed to add before we wrapped it up? Did we cover everything?
I thought we covered everything. Actually, also there was a steady stream of Q&A in typing furiously together with the staff. But so these are wonderful questions, and very much look forward to seeing your applications.
I want you to know the behind the scenes team said that you were great at answering questions. They said you did a great job. We might have to invite you to all of our webinars. So thank you. All right, so we need to be cognizant of time here. So in case we did miss something and you have more questions after the webinar is over, what should you do? So the first place I would go would be our FAQ database. You can go to our website. There are tons of questions and answers in that database. So definitely you want to take a look at that. I mentioned office hours. We have office hours almost every day of the week. Our entire admissions team mans office hours. They're in 15-minute increments. We would love to meet with you. We love meeting with our applicants or our potential applicants. We can answer all of your questions in those office hours. Additional events. I mentioned that tomorrow we have a coffee chat. We have about maybe 8 more coffee chats scheduled within this application cycle. Coffee chats are great because they're a group office hour, so to speak. It's made up of maybe 30, 40, 50 people, and they ask questions. And even if you don't think you have a question, come to the coffee chat and listen to what other people are asking. It's a really, really valuable resource, and it helps you to prepare your application for sure. So coffee chats are great. We have 2 more webinars, I believe, that are coming up this cycle. Definitely take advantage of those as well. You can go to our website, visit our events page, and you can certainly sign up for any events that are available or that you're available for. And of course, last but not least, email us. We do our very best to answer emails within 24 hours. Again, the entire admissions team is in that inbox answering questions. So we're always happy to help you. So I mentioned the deadline is November 1st. We're about 6 weeks from deadline. Again, any questions that you have, please reach out. But we are so thankful that you were able to join us today. And I want to give a big thank you to our 3 program directors, Professor Farmer, Professor G, and Professor Callison-Burch, and of course, our Associate Dean, Professor Boon Thou Loo. So thank you all so very much for being here, and have a great rest of your day or evening. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.